Welcome to You Ought to Watch This Movie, the podcast about movies from the first decade of the 2000s, aka the aughts. Follow along and explore a movie from the aughts, getting unbridled opinions from two millennials. Sit back, relax, and enjoy one of the best decades in movies.
Dun, 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 dun. We're back for another show. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
And this episode has nothing to do with Superman.
In case you were wondering. It does, however, have to do with a person named Mona.
Yeah.
Because the title is...
Drowning Mona.
Yes, indeed. So, welcome back to the show again.
Yes, welcome back.
And as a disclaimer, if you have not watched this movie, feel free to rent it on Amazon Prime or your local Blockbuster. If you live in that city or town in Washington or Oregon, I can't remember with the last Blockbuster, if it's still open.
Well, they can also rent it other places besides Amazon Prime. We don't just have to plug them.
Yeah. So
that's just where we
feel free to rent it and watch it.
Yes, and we forgot to tell them the podcast is called You Ought to Watch This Movie.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Yada. Because we're a minute and 15 in, and I'm just now saying that. So,
okay, so this movie is from 2000, because we're still in 2000. We're finally into March, though.
Wow.
This released March 3rd, 2000. And
you can't see my face. I just made a look like I'm biting my lip. Like, oh, still 2000.
And it is rated PG-13. So, probably safe for families.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it received even a PG-13 rating in today.
I do because of the language and the sexual innuendos.
Okay. Well, maybe.
Situations.
Yeah, okay.
It's not PG.
Okay. Oh. Anywho.
I don't think it is.
It's not R.
Yes, that's really what I was getting at. So, of course, if you're a parent, screen it if you want. But it's not rated R, so that's a plus.
Yes. Do. So, let's get into the summary real quick about what it's about, and then we'll get into the trailer.
Okay. In small town Verplanck, New York, Mona Darling drowns after driving off a cliff. And the police chief proceeds to investigate the suspicious accident.
As a homicide.
It's a perfect setup for Dateline.
Colin has been watching a lot of Dateline lately, and
listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
So not really watching, but
yeah. So listening, watching. So that is an apt summary. Let's move on to our trailer thoughts.
Yes. So my first comment. Oh, and I forgot to rewatch it.
Oh, no. Colin.
No, I needed to see if there was a voiceover.
Well, while Colin's figuring that out, I'm going to go ahead and give you my trailer summary. Danny DeVito, Will Ferrell, and Jamie Lee Curtis, ? I'm interested with the lineup of actor and the whodunit murder comedy. This movie makes me feel like it is a grandparent to the comedy Trial and Error. So I'm encouraged, given that DeVito is playing the righteous cop. I have high expectations.
Yeah.
So, did you find out if there was a...
There is.
Okay, so now we can settle that.
Well, we probably already... That was like a 98% chance.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure.
Was it one of those, this movie or this movie?
No, it was a lower voice.
Well, like, not tone... not tone specifically, but like
That's all
energy.
I can tell
Oh, okay.
from you. Energy. I don't know. I was trying to pay attention to you and have this very low, so I can't tell you. I was just watching to see if there was a voiceover, and there was.
Well, good.
I'm not tracking what kind of voiceovers there are. Just if there is one, to see when that fades out, and when we stop having voiceovers for almost every trailer.
I see.
Okay, my thoughts. After watching the trailer, my first comment was, it looks very much like a waste of time, like Napoleon Dynamite.
So ever since I met Colin, she has not been a fan of Napoleon Dynamite. And I can't say I was the biggest fan of it. I honestly, it didn't make that much of an impact to where I was, I remember my stepsister was really, excited about it. But yeah, but I think now that we're older, that movie may take on a different take.
I know.
So stick around 7 years if you want to hear it.
And then I said, maybe it will be funny. And there was a voiceover, which we already said. So, yes, those were my comments.
Well, so those are all your thoughts?
I didn't really have a lot of thought.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll say this. And this is off the cuff, not off my list of items and thoughts. After watching the movie, I thought it was really nice because Will Ferrell and Danny DeVito and their characters brought a lot of what I would have expected late 90s SNL to have. And I thought it was really cool because, it wasn't the oh my God, slap your knee, this is hilarious. It was, oh my God, are you kidding me? Hilarious. And so
we have to move on to actors we know.
I know that. Oh, yeah, she made a whole list about actors we know. Well, don't worry, we're 7.5 minutes
I'm
in.
just saying we have a system.
I know
we have
But I got to give you my thoughts.
on the trailer.
Oh,
We're supposed to do trailer summary trailer actors we know, and then the comments.
So for everyone listening, this is me getting in trouble for not sticking to the procedure. And this is me responding to Colin by saying, you can't be mean to me. You were born with 2 X chromosomes. I was born with an X and Y chromosome. One of my letters of chromosomes is missing a leg. So technically I'm retarded. So be nice to me. We can move on.
Yes. Okay.
She's staring at me for those listening.
All right. Actors we know. Miles already said that Danny DeVito was in this, but I like to, since he didn't know where Henry Winkler was from, I like to see if he knows one of the first things Danny DeVito was famous for.
Taxi.
Oh, okay. Well, good job. I'm impressed.
Self-applaud.
He plays Chief Rash. That's a weird name. I guess it was because Wyatt Rash, if you say it fast, it sounds like white trash, which is, what this is about.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Trivia I found on IMDb.
Oh my God, that is ridiculous. I can't believe I missed that. Wyatt Trash.
Okay. And Mona is played by Bette Midler, who we have already seen in a previous movie on this podcast. Isn't she great? Mm-hmm. But people will also know her from her, music career and also Hocus Pocus and a bunch of other movies.
I did not realize that was Bette Midler.
Yeah. Okay. And Will Ferrell, which, everybody should know him from something. I know him from Elf and I guess other things, but there's also Neve Campbell, which I didn't know. I don't think Miles knows, but she's famous from the Scream movies.
Well, who did she play in the
girl?
I
didn't. Ellen.
The police chief's daughter.
Yes.
Okay.
Jamie Lee Curtis, who played Rona. Mona Rona, that's kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
She's also famous for another horror franchise, Halloween. Mm-hmm. And I know her from Freaky Friday.
Of course you do.
And Kathleen Wilhoit, or however you pronounce it, which she is Luke's sister, Liz, on Gilmore Girls. She played Lucinda, the mechanic.
That's where I know her.
And finally, Melissa McCarthy had a cameo as a waitress person. And we also know her from Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
And I also wanted to mention that the lead actor besides Danny DeVito was Casey Affleck, who is Ben Affleck's younger brother.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Not the relationship, just the actor's name.
Mm. Okay, so that's all
That's
the
all
actor
reference?
rundown.
Oh, okay. Well, very cool. Well, at least we're structured, unlike some podcasts. Looking at you, Talkville, you terrible freaking setup show.
Please don't do that.
She doesn't want me talking about it. We're saving that for our other show, the Colin and Miles show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we'll go on a hard rant about that. So if you don't follow us on Facebook or subscribe to us on YouTube, you should do so you can see said angry rant.
Yes, look for the Colin and Miles show.
Yes. Are we on to comments?
Yes.
All righty. Now the thing that I started to ad-lib on earlier, but
Did you say ab-lib?
I don't know what I said. Ad-lib or ab-lib?
Ad-lib.
Ad-lib. There, I got both consonants in there for you.
Thank you.
One I say incorrectly and the one I don't. Well, so remember again, the last line from my trailer summary was, I have high expectations. All right. So they do some excellent character development really quickly in this movie. Like, just, you really get a sense of who all the players are and some of their background and, like how they intertwine with one another. And so I really appreciated that because it sets up the comedy for later on. So obviously Mona dies at the very beginning. And I think that's first scene where, she's driving off a cliff. And so all of her character representations moving forward through the movie are in flashbacks, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the funeral for Mona should start with, we're here to remember our dearly beloved. And I say that because Mona dearly, and it's because...
It's Mona Darling.
I thought it was dearly family.
No, it's Darling, like in Peter Pan.
Are you sure?
Look, I have the cast list pulled up. Hold on.
Yeah, let's see. I might be wrong.
Oh, you're right. Maybe I got it. See, and the summary was wrong too. I was thinking Peter Pan, I suppose.
Oh, imagine
Sorry.
that. Colin thinking Disney.
Well, that was a book first, but yeah, I've never read the book, so.
Okay. So I say that because, her last name is Dearly, we're here to remember our dearly beloved, because the Dearly family is terrible. Absolutely terrible. The Mona, the husband, can't remember his name, and the son.
Oh, the husband's name is Phil, and the son's name is Jeff.
So Phil is just no easier way to put this, a dumbass. And inarguably Jeff is, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, retard. For all comedic senses. All right. So Will Ferrell's character matches the creepiness of Ashton Kutcher's character from Down to You. What was that character's name?
Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison. Will Ferrell's character is just, he gives off a creepy vibe, and he sells it without being, the bombastic elf-like Will Ferrell or, Step Brothers or The Campaign. This is a unique character for Will Ferrell, and I appreciated it very much.
And his name was Cubby, and he owned the funeral home.
Yeah.
Do I get to share some thoughts?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie, they play this little thing that says, which I should probably read it to you. It's right at the beginning of the trailer. In 1985, the Yugo Car Company chose Verplanck, New York, to test its new vehicles. I thought it told more of it. It did on the movie.
Yeah, it said it has nothing to do with this movie.
I guess, but it still threw me off because when her car, which was actually Jeff's car she was driving, not hers, I thought, oh, it's something to do with that car company and they're testing their cars and
it's like
something went wrong.
Like the Ford Pinto, with the gas tank in the rear or something, yeah.
But the thing why they said that was, if you notice, another trivia fact from IMDb, every car except the police cars were that same car.
No, the police cars were Yugos too.
Oh, well, the IMDb said that.
Oh,
the police cars were something else.
I was like, oh, what in the world?
Okay, well, that's what they told us.
Yeah.
So
every single car in that
the town.
Yeah.
Verplanck.
My next comment line on here was like, why does this town have so many Hugos? Because there were just so many of them.
Yeah. So and anyway.
Even the truck was a Hugo. A different model or something.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's why they told us that at the beginning. And I remember seeing a police car that was like that, but I just was telling you what I read on IMDb. But anyway, I thought at the beginning, and then of course through this whole investigation, like I was trying to figure out who did it, and I also said I liked the flashbacks because it would be in the present and then they'd go back and show you like some backstory
or an alternate reality invented by one of the people.
Yeah. that threw me off too, because I was like, who are we gonna believe? And anyway, yeah. And
what else?
At one point when Ellie's crying in the car, I think it's right after she talks to, what's that guy's name? Bobby, his brother, when she talks to him at the gas pump.
Yeah.
She gets in her car and starts driving. I think that's when this plays. Anyway, there is a song. It's called Popcorn.
Yeah, Popcorn.
I was like, hey, we hear this song at Square Dancing. And then I heard it on Young Sheldon the next day. And I was like, oh, I guess I've heard this other places.
And then the next day we had Popcorn.
That was that day when we watched the movie.
And then later that day we actually ate popcorn.
Earlier that day we had eaten popcorn.
Yeah, you got a whole lot of popcorn going on.
And another thing I was going to say, I didn't like the mullet haircuts. Ugh.
You don't like a good mullet?
No, especially in a girl.
Well, I guess I go, oh, okay.
Especially a female one.
Yeah, okay. I didn't realize that was a mullet until you...
Well, that's what I'm calling it.
Yeah.
Short in the front, long in the back. What else did you call that?
Well, can we talk about your hair right now? It's short in the front.
It's not the same shape, though. It's not like super, like,
block.
Trimmed,
oh, okay.
And then, down
you could probably
to my head
could probably put some pin-ups on both sides and make it look like a mullet. Let's see if you look good on later with the mullet. Why not?
No, that's a waste of my time.
It's not a waste of our time.
Yes, it is.
I would get enjoyment out of that.
But it's still a waste of my time.
Don't you want to see me smile?
It's not even your real smile.
What's my real smile?
I don't know.
You show me what my real smile is.
I can't. I guess that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for those of you who are sick of our banter back and forth, we'll carry on. Danny DeVito as a serious character was fantastic. Okay, so Danny DeVito typically plays, I would say, if you enjoy Danny DeVito's comedy capabilities, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is a fantastic platform for that. Him as Frank is just incredibly funny. But back in Taxi, or whether it be what is that movie with Schwarzenegger that he does?
Twins.
Yeah, thank you. There's a bombastic comedy to Danny DeVito where you get this roughness in his voice and like this angst. The entire movie, he was the cool, calm, collected individual, which just completely threw me for a loop. The same in a sense that Will Ferrell's comedic character played like what in the world type comedy. Like you're looking like, oh my God, did that just happen? And so I think this movie, especially with like Bette Midler, now knowing that's her, right? Isn't she great? Her character was so bombastic, if you will, and it's not to say that she wasn't in this, but there was really a different, type of character. Mm-hmm. And so overall, this movie is a treasure trove of different types of characters that actors portray. And so that's my comment.
I said it's nice to see Danny DeVito play a nice guy for once, because everything I've seen him in, he's a curmudgeon-y grump.
Curmudgeon-y grump.
And I don't
What
like
the heck kind of word is that?
Well, you know what grump is.
I don't know what the heck is curmudgeon-y or...
Curmudgeon-y. It's probably not a word, but like curmudgeon, that's a grumpy person.
No, I don't know. You and these long words. How many syllables is that?
Curmudgeon. four, but I don't. I'll tell you if it's a word.
Jeez.
Curmudgeon is a word.
Well, you can curmudgeon yourself a pat on the back, I guess.
Curmudgeon is a crusty, ill-tempered, and usually old man. Curmudgeon-y isn't a word. Curmudgeon-ly is a word, but...
Curmudgeon-ly?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
But anyway, I so typically I don't like him because he's just played, mean characters.
So for those of you interested, Colin likes to use a lot of long, fantastic words sometimes. And
sometimes made up.
Not always, but, so for those of you who don't know my personal background, which is legal research and writing, I know a bunch of like ridiculous, like legal words that pales in comparison to the just trove of ridiculous assortment words that she comes up with. Like, I don't even know. She has so many words that she uses that I told her, I don't know, several years ago now, that we should make a song so that way she can, we can remember what those words mean.
That was for literary devices only, not like random words.
Okay, well, literary devices sound like long words to me.
Okay. Well, I also said that I like the music, like the soundtrack, I guess, the music. I liked it like paired with the movie. It had a nice summer of vibe, which it seemed like this was happening in the summer, and that was nice. And also I said kind of a waste of time. What was the point? I didn't hate it though.
What's your last comment?
Well, that was like gonna be my last one because I was just kind of
all over the place. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the point of it was comedy, almost gold. Like there are some comedy gold moments in it. I think, Will Ferrell and, his character taking pictures of, what we assume is a prostitute. And it's just like, what is going on? And he plays the character so well. But needless to say, yeah. So, what would you grade it?
Well, I'm going to give it dropped. I had a higher score yesterday, but it dropped today.
Okay.
71.
A 71?
Yeah.
Okay. What is bringing it down? And what was your grade yesterday?
It was a 77 because I looked back at my other scores and I knew that I liked this less than the big T's. And I gave that a 78. And then today I thought, well, I liked this like a lot less than that movie, but more than Supernova, which has the lowest score in my thing.
Supernova was just a fantastic, movie that was so necessary.
I think I didn't like this because, I liked the humor, I suppose, but it just felt hopeless. Like, it had this sense of hopelessness about it. Like, you're in this town, this small town, everybody's kind of dumb, and
but you've been drinking that sewage water.
And even the people who, are supposed to be good are just like
not good.
They just seem stuck in this one place.
Yeah, I definitely got the stuck vibe. Now you're making me readdress my rating for it because thinking about it, if I was to judge this purely on a comedy level, it would get, easily a B plus. Okay. But if overall movie, man, I want to say it's a C plus, a 78 for me, because I enjoyed the lineup was fantastic, and I enjoyed the characters, and the character development, like at the beginning that I mentioned. I think if it wasn't for the character development, this movie would have easily gotten a D.
Okay.
Wow. So I think that about wraps it up for today, huh?
I guess.
Any final comments you'd like to make?
No. That's all.
That's all, folks. Well, we will be back in 2 weeks with the next movie, which I don't know what it is, but I think Colin might.
Yep, I do.
All right. Well, that's enough for me because, she's the organized one, as she so illustratively pointed out earlier. I need to follow rules. All right. Until next time, I'm Miles.
And I'm Colin.
And this has been Yadam.
You ought to watch this movie.
And make sure to check out the Colin and Miles show on Facebook or YouTube in the interim to hear our long-winded rant about a certain Talkville podcast that shall remain nameless.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to You Ought to Watch This Movie, a podcast about movies from the first decade of the 2000s, aka the aughts. Be sure to subscribe for new episodes covering movies you ought to watch. We'll see you next time.